Hello and welcome to Advertisers Watching Ads. This is a weekly show where brands discuss other brands' ads.
Given the kind of political atmosphere in the States, it's more likely to have a backlash amongst their real kind of historical core.
Saying the beer industry's treated women like crap, only to make yourself a hero, it doesn't make sense to me.
My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and I would like to thank Contagious for being our partners and helping source the ad this week. But before we get to that ad, let's meet this week's guests.
Hi, I'm Lucas Bergmans. I've always been an advertiser, so a client-side marketer for my whole career, split between food and drink brands like Heineken, Pepsi, Old El Paso, and digital brands in the UK like Money Supermarket, Aviva, and most recently, Cazoo.
Hi, I'm DJ O'Neill. I'm a founder and creative director of a company in San Francisco called Hub Strategy and Communication. We're a design and creative shop in San Francisco. I'm a creative director and director. We work with brands, all kinds of brands, from startups to big brands like Nike and Google and Microsoft and Levi's and stuff like that.
Let's watch this week's ad.
Here's a little known fact. Women were among the very first to brew beer ever. From Mesopotamia to the Middle Ages to colonial America, women were the ones doing the brewing. Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow. Look at this wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up not just their but the whole beer industry's Miller Lite has been scouring the internet for all this and buying it back so that he can turn it into good for women brewers. Literally, good How, you ask? Ladies, take it away.
First, we turn the bad into compost. Then we feed compost to worms. Push out beautiful fertilizer.
That good helps farmers grow quality hops,
which is then donated to women brewers to make their own really good
But there's definitely more out there. In your attic, in the garage, in your parents' basement. Send any you got into Miller Lite and they'll turn that into good too. Oh. So here's to women, because without us, there would be no beer.
So let's give this ad a vote out of 5. So on a count of 3, hold up your fingers. 1, 2, 3. A 2 and a 1.
There's loads of brands have tried to target women, whether they actually come up with a new brand or a new flavor of beer or the comms, right? And so this is clearly they've done this purely just on the comms front, from what I can tell. The mistake that beer brands often make is that it's really, yes, women like the taste of beer, but it's really the image of beer that's the problem, and they don't want to be seen to be drinking certain beer brands. I think there is an element of truth to that, but actually the kind of key insight around women's drinking behaviors from my kind of experience in Europe a while ago was really actually women are looking for an acceptable beer that they can drink in mixed sex groups, right? So they're not looking for having their own distinctive brand that only talks to them. And the kind of the best example of that in the UK is Peroni. So they kind of specifically launched a brand that was targeted both at men and women. So trying to take an existing brand like Miller that's got a real history of very, very blokey, very macho, very kind of male chauvinist advertising, probably one of the worst examples of the bad shit that they're talking about. And pivoting in that style, I get the intent, I get the shift they're trying to make. I just think that it's not likely to work with that audience. And actually at the same time, given the kind of political atmosphere in the States, is more likely to have a backlash amongst their real kind of historical core, which is what you've just seen with Bud Light. But it feels like another instance where a brand is trying to do the right thing in slightly the wrong way that won't necessarily attract the people they want to try and attract, and they'll really annoy the people that are kind of their historical core. So I think that's at a kind of bit more of a strategic level, the problem that I have with it.
First of all, the biggest thing is, as marketers, we're supposed to be in touch with our audience, and we're supposed to understand current trends and things like that. I look at, like Dove, the Real Women campaign from years ago. It featured not the supermodels in their ads. They featured real women. And the timing was fantastic. It was at a time when there was a lot of talk about body shaming, eating disorders caused by these brands portraying women as perfect all the time, right? And so Dove came in and said, fuck that. They hit a wave and they rode the wave, and they did it with tons of integrity. They tapped into what was important to the audience. And here's the other part. They didn't make it a vein, a one-off minute and a half commercial like this thing. They made it an artery. They made it everything that they did, right? And so they went all in on it. And this is 15 years ago. Today, women are still buying Dove men's products because of the halo created by this brand. They did such a masterful job. This falls apart on a bunch of levels. Number one, the wave right now, maybe a year ago, the woke thing, maybe 2 years ago in the middle of the pandemic in the US, the woke thing was going like this. It's going like this, in my opinion, right? It's now people are fatigued from it. So to come out and take a swipe at your whole industry, saying the beer industry's treated women like crap, only to make yourself a hero, it doesn't make sense to me. The people that you're targeting and speaking to, are they going to change their drinking habits because of this ad? The risk reward thing the math doesn't really work, you know? So I love brands go into corporate social responsibility. And I love the idea of celebrating women. I love this theme of like women with the original brewers.
Yeah.
Like, why not go positive with that, right? If you want to do this, go all in, make a big program.
What were the immediate things to take out and change? How do we make it better?
If I was Miller, I'd come up with a new brand. If that's what you really want to do to target a different audience, just come up with a new brand. Like if the response is going to be anything like Bud Light, they're going to lose that much money. They might as well launch a new brand anyway. That's not particularly helpful for the agency in this instance, but strategically it's a bit off.
I would actually probably put the most macho famous male figure as your spokesperson. If you're going to villainize the way the industries work, I like the idea of celebrating women and not making the villainizing too bad and too smug about how you talk about it. You could probably have something that would be less off-putting to the target audience.
Is there any argument that they want to move away from this certain type of Miller core audience and they want to make Miller relevant to a younger audience who are going to be super hot on this issue, who might actually think the bad shit, good shit joke's quite funny?
Yeah, possibly. And I think you kind of need to find the right way to kind of ride the next kind of wave and the next kind of relevant theme. But I do wonder whether the products just needs updating. If it's anything like the UK, the beer market has completely changed in the last 10, 20 years. It's so fragmented. There's loads of actually really great tasting beers. And I hope you're not too insulted, but a lot of American beers like Bud Light just taste awful. And, even, brands like Heineken here are just, by comparison to the sort of stuff you can buy, just come across as quite bland products. So I'd almost start with the products, see what else you can do with that, as well as really thinking deeply about who's your next generation of drinkers in the next 10, 20 years, men and women. And how do you make the brand relevant to them and really properly think that through, which is really hard, by the way, really, really hard.
I think this was just a knee jerk. Hey, it's Women's History Month. Let's do something and throw something out there. Go all in. You know what I mean? Change the packaging, maybe change the name, use the equity from the brand. I met this guy years ago, Ken Grossman, who's the founder of, do you guys know Sierra Nevada beer? Is that
yeah.
He told me a long time ago, he said, when someone holds a beer in their hand, it's a badge. And it's true. The drink or the beer is supposed to represent who you are. And brands are always trying to find that connection so that when people are holding their beer, that badge is something that appeals most emotionally to the largest number of people. And you could see having that Miller Lite badge in the future, if you wanted to go all in on women, you could see building a whole brand around celebrating women, right? And celebrating women, women's causes and women's brewing or women brewers. You could see it's kind of an interesting, intriguing idea, but it goes back to what Lucas said. Maybe it's about creating a whole new brand around it. Miller creates new brands all the time.
Yeah. I'm sure I read that somewhere. They always do extensions, different brands, all that kind of stuff.
Gents, vote with your thumb, yes or no. Would you sign off this ad in its current form? Miller, some interesting feedback there, and we'll see you all next week.